as always. Okay. I don't even know. Excuse me. I don't even know if I'm going to have an audience for this one, but you know what? It was already on the schedule. I already planned it, so I'm just going to do it. Okay. No idea if I'm going to have an audience for this one or not. I'm kind of doubting it. So, I guess until an audience gets here, spoilers over my shoulder, but I guess while we wait for any, excuse me, I guess while we wait for any potential audience of any kind to get here, cock. Cock, 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 penis, 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 cock. Penis, cock sex. Back where I come from, we call ice cream frozen cock sex. Oh, I don't know. Uh, they gotta stop making frogs fucking sexual. Copper. Wonder After Dark, the only show where I don't have an audience and kind of have to stretch out the time, even though I had plenty of time to kill. If nobody gets here in the next 5 minutes, I'm just gonna. I'm just. Ugh. If nobody gets here in the next 5 minutes, I am just gonna raw dog it and just go right into it. And I also hope that Disney does not give me a copyright claim or strike for what is playing in the background right now. Oh, that's a fingernail. Shit. That's gonna bother me. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have an audience for this episode. Whoopsie doodle. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Oh, now we have an audience, I think. Unless YouTube's just playing games with me, which they love to play games with me. Okay, yeah, YouTube playing games with me. I figured. Fucking figured. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done one of these tonight. But I already put it on that dumbass cracker of a schedule. Because I too am a dumbass cracker. Okay. Shit. Okay, yeah, I've already wasted almost 8 minutes of time. And considering I do not have an audience for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and get into my stupid fucking bullshit. Welcome to Wonder After Dark. So, even though we don't have an audience for tonight, and I don't think we will, this is one of those episodes that requires a little bit of context and a little bit of explanation. Excuse me. So, last night, I didn't really. Okay, so last night, let me try that again. So, I did not really have a topic. Oh, do we have one? Do we have someone in the audience now, or is YouTube fucking with me again? If that count goes back down to 0, that means YouTube is fucking with me. Which I feel like it is. Yep, it is. Anyway, so this is one of those episodes that requires a little bit of context and a little bit of explanation. You see, typically I'm handed a topic or a suggestion and then I cover it. Sometimes it's the next night, sometimes it's a week later, sometimes it's a month later, sometimes it's never. But for this episode, I actually did not have any topic lined up at all. I did not know what I was going to review, did not know what I was going to do. I just didn't know. Excuse me. So, for this episode, I just decided to give myself a goal and a challenge. What are the two most dissimilar movies that I could review in the same episode. I mean two movies that have absolutely nothing to do with each other except for two things: the studio that either distributed or produced them, or the release date. Ultimately, I landed on two movies, both of which were released either by Disney or under a Disney banner or division, and both of which released roughly a decade apart, on December 11th, 1998 and December 11th, 2009, respectively. That was my goal, though, just to find two movies that don't make too much sense to be covered together, basically completely on purpose. So let's get into this. Starting with feature film 1 of 2. Rushmore is a 1998 American comedy film directed by Wes Anderson. So this is now I'm pretty sure this is now the third Wes Anderson film we've covered. The film follows a teenager named Max Fisher, played by Jason Schwartzman in his film debut. His friendship with rich industrialist Herman Bloom, played by Bill Murray, and their shared affection for elementary school teacher Rosemary Cross, played by Olivia Williams. Quite the plot. The film was co-written by Anderson and Owen Wilson. Wow. The soundtrack features multiple songs by bands associated with the British invasion of the 1960s. Coincidentally, British invasion could also double as subtle foreshadowing for the eventual and inevitable review of 28 Days Later. Anyway, filming began around 1997 in Filming began in November 1997 around Houston, Texas, and lasted 50 days until January 1998. Kind of a specific number there, but okay. The film stars Jason Schwartzman, Olivia Williams, Bill Murray, Brian Cox, Seymour Cassel, and Mason Gamble. The film was, of course, produced by Walt Disney Pictures under the Touchstone Pictures banner, because, for those who don't know or may have forgotten, Touchstone Pictures was the label or banner in which Disney used to distribute its more mature series and films. Anyway, the film premiered at TIFF on September 17th, 1998, and released everywhere, in the US at least, on December 11th, 1998. The film had a budget of just $9 to $10 million, let's just say $10 million, and it made around 17 to 19 million. Anyway, while the box office results were modest at best, the film had a positive reception among film critics. It helped launch Jason Schwartzman's career, while establishing a second career for Bill Murray as a respected actor in independent cinema. Yeah. At the 1999 Independent Spirit Awards, Anderson won the Best Director award, and Murray won Best Supporting Male award. Murray also earned a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor, Motion Picture. Starting from Rushmore, both Murray and Schwartzman became two of Anderson's most frequent collaborators, appearing in 8 and 6 subsequent films respectively. In 2016, the film was selected in the United States, The film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress after being deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Yeah. Alright, since we don't have an audience, time to read the plot. Or, not the plot, the production, not the plot. The production. Anyway. With Rushmore, Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson wanted to create their own slightly heightened reality like a Roald Dahl children's book, which I kind of feel like every Anderson film falls under, even the one that is literally based on a children's book. Anyway, like Max Fisher, Wilson was expelled from his preparatory school, St. Mark's School of Texas, in the 10th grade. He also shared Max's ambition, lack of academic motivation, and crush on an older woman. Anderson and Wilson both began writing the screenplay for Rushmore years before they made Bottle Rocket, which we will also have to cover at a later date. They knew that they wanted to make the film, or they knew they wanted to make a film set in an elite preparatory school, or proprietary, whatever, proprietary school, much like St. Mark's, which Owen had attended along with his two brothers, Andrew and Luke, Luke being the sole graduate, and St. John's School in Houston, Texas, which Anderson had attended. The film featured M.B. Lamar High School, according to the director, one of the things that was the most appealing to us was the initial idea of a 15-year-old kid and a 50-year-old woman becoming, or a 50-year-old kid and a 50-year-old man becoming friends and equals. Oh, no. Woo, 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 woo. Anyway, Rushmore was originally going to be made for New Line Cinema, but when they could not agree on a budget, Anderson, Wilson, and producer Barry Mendel held an auction for the film rights in mid-1997 and struck a deal with Joe Roth, who was then chairman of the Walt Disney Studios. He offered them a $10 million budget, and the film was distributed under the Touchstone Pictures banner. Anyway, and produced by Barry Mendel and Paul Schiff for American Empirical Pictures. Yeah. Yep. Alright, that's enough of the production side of things. Alright, what about that motherfucking reception? Because we always like to read about the reception. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 90% based on 107 reviews and an average rating of 8.1 out of 10. What is it that I always say on this show? 0 to 50 in 4? Yep, good old 0 to 50 in 4. Anyway, the consensus reads, this cult favorite is a quirky coming-of-age story with fine off-kilter performances from Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 86 out of 100 based on 32 critics, 0 to 50 and 4, indicating universal acclaim. Audiences surveyed by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B on an A+ to F scale. Wow. Got something on my leg here. There we go. Did not feel good. Anyway. In his review for the Daily News, film critic Dave Keir praised Rushmore as a significant work, or magnificent, God, I can't fucking read, and picked it as the best movie of the year. USA Today gave the film 3 out of 4 stars and wrote that Bill Murray was at his off-kilter best. That seems to be a recurring word here, off-kilter. And finally, Todd McCarthy, in his review for Variety, admired the film's deep focus, widescreen compositions, and felt that it gave the story exceptional vividness, which I do agree. Although I find it kind of funny that they highlight that as if like widescreen was a new premise at the time. This dude seriously looks like what's his face from Meet the Robinsons. Anyway, all right, now the release history, or the home video history at least. So, Buena Vista Home Entertainment released the film on VHS and DVD on June 29th, 1999. The DVD did not have any supplemental bonus features of any kind. This was, of course, because it was still a relatively, like, DVD was still relatively new at the time. So, yeah. Of course, this was followed by a special edition DVD on January 18th, 2000 from the Criterion Collection, with remastered picture and sound, along with various bonus features, including audio commentary by Wes Anderson, Owen Wilson, and Jason Schwartzman, a behind-the-scenes documentary by Eric Chase Anderson, Anderson and Murray being interviewed on The Charlie Rose Show, and theatrical adaptations of Armageddon, The Truman Show, and Out of Sight, staged specially for the 1999 MTV Movie Awards by the Max Fisher Players. And finally, the film was released on Blu-ray on November 22nd, 2011, also from the Criterion Collection. And in terms of home video releases that either already happened or are currently available, that was basically it. There are rumors that various Wes Anderson films are getting 4K releases this coming year in 2025. I think the rumor is that there's going to be like a Wes Anderson box set. I don't know if it's going to be from Criterion or if it's going to be from Disney themselves, but we'll see. I mean, I would prefer individual 4K releases, but a box set would be cool at least. But anyway, so Rushmore. I don't have any of the copies of it. I don't have the VHS, I don't have the DVD, I don't have either of the DVDs, the Buena Vista or the Criterion, and I don't have the Criterion Blu-ray. So I first watched the movie on Paramount Plus. And before you say, isn't it a Disney movie? Didn't you just say that? Well, yes, I did. Although a few Disney films have crept their way onto Paramount Plus. Specifically, a few Touchstone Pictures films from throughout the 1990s and early 2000s. The specific films in question, I mean, I remember them quite well. You know, stuff like Armageddon, Con Air, Gone in 60 Seconds, Rushmore, stuff like that. Although a lot of those films have since been removed from Paramount Plus and have gone to, of course, Disney Plus. But anyway, I watched it on Paramount Plus. What do I think of Rushmore? Well, I don't think that it's my... Okay, I wouldn't call it my favorite of Wes Anderson's filmography, at least my favorites of his that I have seen. But of the ones I have seen, I do really enjoy it. I guess, even though, okay, trying to put it into words, even though it does take place in what they call a heightened reality, it also, honestly, feels like it takes place in, like, reality. Like, okay, like, Fantastic, of the movies of his that I have seen, Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs and the French. Okay, let me start all over. Isle of Dogs and Fantastic Mr. Fox obviously don't take place in our world, not in any sense of the word. French Dispatch kind of, I guess, does, but again, it's very stylistically exaggerated, stylistically cartoonish, I guess. Asteroid City, I haven't seen, can't comment, but it also has that kind of cartoon look to it. Um, Life Aquatic. Life Aquatic is fairly grounded, fairly realistic, but again, it has the kind of cartoonish elements throughout. Rushmore probably feels the most grounded, like the most realistic. And because of that, I think it makes it stick out more in his filmography. Stick out a lot more. Anyway. But I do think Rushmore is a really good movie. You know, it's got great humor, great characters. I particularly like Bill Murray's performance in the film. I think it's just a great movie, just overall. It's very well made. Low budget, yes, but doesn't look particularly cheap. Doesn't fall over. Magical anime girl transformation. Anyway. Okay, no, but anyway, it does. I mean, it has that low budget look and that low budget feel, but it does not look or feel particularly cheap. It's the right it looks good. It looks nice. It just works. And on top of that, it also just I don't know. It just makes sense. Like everything about Rushmore just clicks. I can't think of very many negatives, or really any negatives, and I can't think of any like flaws. It's just a well-rounded movie. Again, not my favorite of Wes Anderson's filmography, but also not what I would call the worst either. I mean, it is an earlier film of his, so go figure. But I do enjoy it. I'll give it maybe a 7 out of 10. Not a super high score compared to his other works. Again, Life Aquatic being one of my favorites, and probably my definitive favorite that he's done. It's just a good movie. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Well, one movie review down, another to go. Only 28 minutes in, and I feel like this episode is probably going to be less than an hour long, because, yeah, I don't think I'm going to have an audience for this one. So, yeah. I guess we'll just go ahead and move on to our second feature film, which released exactly, well, not exactly, but released 11 years later to the day, December 11th. Let's just say that it came out a decade later. Let's just round it up. We'll round it up to a decade later. The Princess and the Frog is a 2009 American animated musical romantic fantasy comedy film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios and released by Walt Disney Pictures. Yeah, we're dipping back into the Disney Princess franchise. We previously covered Wish, Tangled, and Encanto, and Tangled Ever After. Only seems appropriate we continue this franchise on Wonder After Dark. Anyway, the film is inspired, in part, by the 2002 novel The Frog Princess by E.D. Baker. And I was really close to reading that as Ed Baker, but anyway. Which in turn is based on the German folk tale The Frog Prince, as collected by the Brothers Grimm. And I'm going to be real with all of you, I forget that the Grimms were even real. Anyway, the film was directed by John Musker and Ron Clements and produced by Peter Del Vecchio, I think that's how you say his name. If not, I do apologize. From a screenplay that Clements and Musker co-wrote with Rob Edwards. Also Musker. That is a really unfortunate last name. Anyway, the directors of the film also co-wrote the story with the writing team of Greg Erb and Jason Orenland. The film has a really stacked voice cast featuring the voices of Anika Noni Rose, Bruno Campos, Michael Leon Woolley, Jim Cummings, Jennifer Cody, John Goodman, Keith David, Peter Bartlett, Jennifer Lewis, Oprah Winfrey, I ran over Oprah, Terrence Howard. Next time, baby. Alright, so what's the plot? Set in New Orleans during the 1920s, the film tells the story of a hard-working waitress named Tiana who dreams of opening her own restaurant. After kissing Prince Naveen, who has been turned into a frog by the evil voodoo witch doctor Falasier, Efsler. We'll just call him the evil doctor. Actually, we'll just call him the doctor, just because I think it's funny. Anyway, Tiana becomes a frog as well, and the two must find a way to turn human again before it is too late. Once and for all, Microwave Society's least favorite combination of words. Anyway. Yeah. As I previously stated, the film was produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios and was distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. The film premiered in Los Angeles and New York on November 29th, 2009, and released everywhere in the U.S. on December 11th, 2009. 11 years after Rushmore. So the two films do share a release date. The film had a budget of $105 million and made $271 million. Definitely a big success, I must say. Definitely a big success. Anyway, The Princess and the Frog began production in July 2006 under the working title The Frog Princess. It marked Disney's brief return to traditional hand-drawn 2D animation, as it was the mainstream animation studio's first traditionally animated film since 2004's Home on the Range. Musker and Clements, director of Disney's The Great Mouse Detective, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, and Treasure Planet. That was loud. Returned to direct the film. The studio returned to a Broadway musical style format frequently used during the Disney Renaissance of the 1990s. And the film features a score and songs composed and conducted by Randy Newman. You know, Randy Newman of You Got a Dick in My Ass fame. Suck my motherfucking dick. Anyway, well known for his involvement in Pixar films such as the Toy Story franchise. Funny. Anyway, the film premiered at the Roy E. Disney Animation Building on the Walt Disney Studios lot in Burbank on November 15th, 2009, and then first opened in a limited release in New York and Los Angeles on November 25th, followed by its wide release on December 11th. The film received largely positive reviews from critics who praised the animation, particularly the revival of the hand-drawn form and style, characters, music, voice acting, particularly David's, and themes. However, it was criticized for its depiction of Louisiana voodoo and alleged historical negotianism of its depiction of the southern United States during the Jim Crow era. None of which I'm even going to bother to research right now. I'm too lazy to research any of that. Far too lazy. It was a qualified success at the box office. Although it somewhat underperformed Disney's targets, yet finished in first place in North America on its opening weekend and grossed around $271 million worldwide, becoming, in the process, Disney's most successful traditionally animated film since Lilo and Stitch in 2002. It received 3 Oscar nominations at the 82nd Academy Awards, 1 for Best Animated Feature and 2 for Best Original Song. And again, I am far too lazy to check if it won either of those. I am far too lazy to check. I have better things to do than check. Even though I will gladly research the movies that I talk about on this show, I'm far too lazy to research actual historical events of which transpire. Anyway, again, because we have no audience and I gotta figure out how to stretch this episode out somehow, I will once again read about the film's production. Disney had once announced that 2004's Home on the Range would be their last traditionally hand-drawn animated film, after the company's acquisition of Pixar in 2006. Ed Catmull and John Lasseter, the new president and chief creative officer of Disney Animation Studios, reversed this decision and reinstated hand-drawn animation at the studio. Smart move, guys. I mean, I know we like to go on about John Lasseter, but that was a smart decision. Anyway, many animators who had been either laid off or had left the studio when the units were dissolved in 2003 were relocated or rehired for the project. Lasseter also brought back director Ron Clements and John Musker, whose earlier works include the films that I listed off earlier. The duo left the company in 2005, but Lasseter requested their return to Disney to direct and write the film, and had let them choose the style of animation, traditional or CG, that they wanted to use. The film's story, it feels so much later than just 11/24. Anyway, the film's story began development by merging 2 projects in development at Disney and Pixar at the time, both of which were based around the Frog Prince fairy tale. One of the projects was based on E.D. Baker's The Frog Princess, in which the story's heroine, Princess Emma, kisses a prince turned frog, Prince Aedric, whatever, only to become a frog herself. The other was based on Ralph Eggleston's pitch of The Frog Prince, set in gangster-era Chicago. Jorgen Klubin separately claimed that a story he was developing at Pixar, tentatively titled The Spirit of New Orleans, served as inspiration for the film. The Princess and the Frog returns to the musical film format used in many of the previously successful Disney animated films, with a style that Musker and Clements declared, like with Aladdin and The Little Mermaid, had inspiration from Golden Age features such as Cinderella. Yeah. Well, I can at least confirm one of those because I've seen Aladdin now. Stay tuned for that review. Musker and Clements thought that given so many fairy tales were set in Europe, that they could do an American one. They stated that they chose New Orleans as a tribute to the history of the city for its magical qualities and because it was John Lasseter's favorite city. The director spent 10 days in Louisiana before starting to write the film. It was originally announced, as I said earlier, as the Frog Princess in July 2006. And early concepts and songs were presented to the public at Anchor Bay Entertainment's annual shareholders meeting in March 2007. Although I am not sure what Anchor Bay has to do with this because Disney, but sure. These announcements drew criticism from African American media outlets due to the elements of the story, characters, and settings considered distasteful. African American critics disapproved of the original name for the heroine, Maddie, due to its similarity to the derogatory word term mammy. And you know what I hate? I just read the word mammy and all I could see was Brandon Rogers, Grandpa. I remember giving it to you, mammy, to prove I was over 18. Anyway. Also protested were Maddie's original career as a chambermaid. The choice to have the black heroine's love interest be a non-black prince, and the use of a black male voodoo witch doctor as the film's villain. The Frog Princess title was also thought by critics to be a slur on French people. Also questioned was the film's setting of New Orleans, which had been heavily damaged by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Stay tuned for our review of The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Anyway, resulting in the expulsion of a large number of mostly black residents. God, this really is just the gift that keeps on giving. Critics claim the choice of New Orleans as the setting for a Disney film with a black heroine was an affront on the Katrina victims' plight. Oh my God. In response to these early criticisms, the film's title was changed in May 2007 from The Frog Princess to The Princess and the Frog, which actually, if you stop and think about it, that wording is not any different. Alright, let me rephrase. If you stop and think about it, that title is not any different. All they did was just shift the order of the words around. Anyway, the name Maddie was changed to Tiana, and the character's occupation was changed from chambermaid to waitress. Talk show host Oprah Winfrey was hired as technical consultant for the film, leading to her taking a voice acting role in the film as Tiana's mother, Eudora. Not even going to bother trying to pronounce that correctly. Oh my boy. Oh my god, yeah, that's a lot of talking. Okay, I'm not going to read. Oh god. Okay, I'm not reading all of this. It's a novel. So I'm just going to rip chunks of it out. Okay. From here on, Clements and Musker had agreed early on that the style they were aiming for was primarily that of Lady and the Tramp, a film which they and John Lasseter feel represents the pinnacle of Disney's style. After that, everything started becoming more stylized, like Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, which are fantastic films as well, but there's a particular style to Lady and the Tramp that's so classically Disney. Lady and the Tramp also heavily informed the style of the New Orleans scenes, while Bambi served as the template for the Bayou scenes, or Bayou, however you say that word. Bambi was described as a stylistic reference for the painted backgrounds, as according to art director Ian Gooding, Bambi painted what it feels like to be in the forest instead of the forest. I'm having a stroke. So the Princess and the Frog would in turn try capturing the essence of roaming through New Orleans. Okay, well that part makes sense. Anyway, the former trend in Disney's hand-drawn features, where the characters and cinematography were influenced by a CGI look, had been abandoned for this film, which is honestly a smart move, honestly. I think it sticks out more. I think it's just better overall. Yeah. And of course, the film's soundtrack album, The Princess and the Frog Original Songs and Score, contained the 10 original songs from the film and 7 instrumental pieces, was released on November 23rd, 2009, the day before the limited release of the film in New York and Los Angeles. Okay, there we go. There's the production side of things. Back up here. But what about the reception? You know, the reception. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an 85% approval rating based on 200 reviews and an average rating of 7.4 out of 10, 0 to 50 and 4. The consensus reads, the warmth of traditional Disney animation makes this occasionally lightweight fairy tale update a lively and captivating confection for the holidays. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 73 out of 100 based on 29 critics, 0 to 50 and 4, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. How exciting. Wow, Owen Wilson. Anyway. Lisa Schwarzbaum, I think that's a name we've heard before, of Entertainment Weekly gave the film an A grade and applauded the film's creative team for upholding the great tradition of classic Disney animation. Kirk Honeycutt of The Hollywood Reporter praised Walt Disney Animation for rediscovering its traditional hand-drawn animation and for a thing called story. David Germain of the Associated Press wrote that The Princess and the Frog is not the second coming of Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King. Stay tuned. It's just plain pleasant, an old-fashioned little charmer that's not straining to be the next glib animated compendium of pop culture flotsam. And reading that, all I could see in my head was Mr. Krabs. Because flotsam is just such a Mr. Krabs core word. Seriously. Anyway. Alright, last review that I'm going to be reading here. Justin Chang of Variety was less receptive, stating, this long-anticipated throwback to a venerable house style never comes within kissing distance of the studio's former glory. You fucking bitch. Anyway. Alright, and now finally, well, I guess we should discuss the theatrical release history here, because it's actually had a few different releases in theaters. Anyway, so aside from its initial... I am so itchy. And this is like just such a nothing episode. This is just such a nothing burger of an episode. Anyway. Aside from its initial release in New York and LA It was, of course, followed by the wide release on December 11th, 2009. Now, the film was originally set to release on Christmas Day 2009, December 25th, but its release date was changed due to competition from 20th Century Fox's Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel, which was scheduled to release, of course, the same day. Anyway, and for a while that was pretty much it. Then the film received a limited theatrical re-release for 1 week only from October 6th to October 12th, 2017 at AMC Theaters as a part of the Dream Big Princess campaign. And then finally, the film was re-released in theaters, again for 1 week only, in the UK on October 6th, 2023, to coincide with Disney's 100th anniversary campaign. Disney 100. We'll talk about that some other time. Anyway. And finally, The Princess and the Frog was released in North America on Blu-ray and DVD on March 16th, 2010. It was available on DVD, Blu-ray, and Blu-ray combo pack editions. The combo pack, of course, includes the Blu-ray disc, the DVD, and a digital copy. Back when your digital copy would have been on its own disc. Remember those days? The DVD edition has sold over 4.5 million copies and has made 71.8 million in DVD sales, making it the 9th best-selling DVD of 2010. Very exciting. As of 2019, the film had earned $117 million from its domestic home video releases. And again, for a while, that was pretty much it. Until November 5th, 2019, when the film released on 4K Ultra HD for the first time ever. And so far, the only time ever. It has not gotten any other releases on 4K. Now, I don't know if the 4K version was released to coincide with the 10th anniversary of the film, because, 2019 obviously would have been the 10th anniversary. But I feel like the 4K probably was released as an anniversary tie-in. It just feels like that. I feel like it was. Even if it wasn't intentional or marketed, like the 4K did not say like Princess and the Frog 10th anniversary edition or anything. It was just the movie, now on 4K. But yeah, we'll just say that it was released for the 10th anniversary of the film. And of course, the same day that the film released on 4K, it was also met with a subsequent Blu-ray reissue using the same artwork as the 4K release. And finally, the film was released on... Oh shoot, hi. You are really late. You are really late, Spider. Welcome to Wonder After Dark. Playing with my stepsisters. No worries. So to recap what you missed, earlier in the episode, I reviewed the Wes Anderson film Rushmore, starring Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray. I guess to recap that without reviewing it all over again, I gave it like a 7 out of 10. What you just caught me in the middle of is my review of Princess and the Frog. Why did I review these in the same episode, you might ask? They share a release date, December 11th. Today's the 15th anniversary of the latter film, and I figured, you know what, it's stupid, it's corny, it makes no sense to cover these in the same episode, but when am I ever going to talk about Rushmore by itself? So why not pair them together? Anyway, so yeah, and then it was made available to stream on Disney Plus on November 12th, 2019. Of course, that being the day that Disney Plus launched in the US and Canada. So it was a Disney Plus launch title. Okay. So now my review of The Princess and the Frog. I have never seen this movie prior to today, and in fact, I arguably have less memory of it than I do Tangled, in that I saw the trailers for it on various DVDs back then, but I never batted much of an eye. In fact, once I figured out how the skip button worked on a DVD player remote, I was just like, because I was a sexist little pig back then. But I figured, you know what, in honor of the 15th anniversary today, why not watch it for the first time ever? Don't have a physical copy of it. I, of course, watched it on Disney Plus. What do I think of the movie? I enjoyed it. I mean, I will agree with some of the critic reviews. It's no Lion King. It's no. Well, granted, I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast, so we'll swap that one out for Tangled. It's no Lion King. It's no Tangled, but it's a it's a fun, quaint little movie with some great characters, great music, great animation. Always love hand drawn animation. It's just a great movie. Again, not the best I've seen from Disney by a landslide, but for what it is, The Princess and the Frog is really enjoyable. Although I will say, though, I don't mean this as a complaint or a criticism, but it's probably the least I have found one of these movies funny. I mean, there are scenes that are clearly meant to be comedic, but I just didn't find any of them particularly funny. The one scene that I did think was like absolutely fucking hysterical, just because of how unexpected it was. The crocodile dude, who I've already forgotten the name of, climbs up on this boat with a band and he starts, playing his trumpet. And the band's just looking at him like, what the fuck, man? That's a gator playing music. Now, I expected this to just like quickly cut back to because it's like a cutaway gag. I expected the scene to just end there and to just quickly cut back to reality, Family Guy style. No. The next thing that literally happens is he jumps off the boat, like runs away, and then they start shooting at him. Like dead ass just shooting at him. Yeah, the gator climbs up on the boat, plays his little trumpet, whatever, and then, or trumpet, tuba, whatever the hell it is, and then they start shooting at him. It was so unexpected and just so out there, even for a movie called this, but God, it killed me so much because it was so unexpected. And it was just not the way I was expecting that scene to play out in the least. Not the punchline, at least. Especially for being, a Disney animated family film, which we seem to be experts of covering on this show. So, yeah. Yeah. But, regardless, what I thought of the movie. I did enjoy it though. Although I will say, while I don't think the storyline is my favorite, I kind of like the setting. Not necessarily, or maybe I should be a bit more specific. Not the setting of New Orleans itself, though it is a good setting. Rather, I found just it being set in what I would consider a later time period to be interesting. Because typically, the Disney princess films are set mostly in medieval times or close to it, or just in the very distant past. Granted, the 1920s are the distant past at this point, but still they're mostly set long ago. But 1920s, that's kind of interesting because it's what I would consider kind of a later time period. I mean, definitely not present day, definitely not 1997, but interesting time frame that they chose, interesting century, decade, etc. And it kind of makes me wish that they would kind of dip into other time periods more in these films. Like, give us one set in like the 1970s. Give us one set in like biblical times. That could be interesting. Give us one set in present day even. Like that could have potential. As long as you're not like, selfie, like yeah, that could be interesting. But I don't know. I guess I just found that more interesting than the plot. But it was a good story, a good plot, I'll admit. Yeah. Also, the voodoo doctor man was giving Meet the Robinsons vibes all over. And I'm not just saying that because skinny, tall man wearing a hat. I mean, just in general, he was giving bowler hat man from Meet the Robinsons vibes. Especially the longer he was on screen. Also, Keith David, just chef's kiss. Keith David. Keith David. Also, Terrence Howard, Rhodey, funny. Anyway. I thought the music was really nice. Again, not my favorite songs in a Disney film, but I did really like the music. Thought most of the songs were pretty catchy. Although I will say, the ending did kind of confuse me a little bit at first. At first. Because it's like, oh, they don't turn human again at the end? Okay, that's actually pretty interesting. So they're just permanently frogs. Okay, that's interesting. And they have like a, I guess, nature wedding. But then, oh, wait a minute, they're human now? And it's a human wait, what did I miss? I don't know. I get what the ending means, but I was kind of thrown off at first. Like, wait, what? Like, did you just retcon the movie right before my eyes? I don't know. But regardless, I've never seen the movie prior to today. Now that I've seen it on Disney Plus, I quite enjoy it. Not my favorite, but not the worst either. I guess I'll give it. Oh, you know what? I'll give it a high score, but I'm not going to give it a perfect 10. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10. Not too high, but not too low. There you go. There's my review. Alright, well, we still got about 10 minutes of show left before I feel like wrapping this up. But I don't really know what to pad out the rest of this episode with. So if you're still watching and you think of something for me to talk about for the next roughly 10 minutes, let me know. If you're still watching, of course. If not, I'll just bullshit my way out of this. Again, no idea if you're even still in the audience right now, but if you are, give me a suggestion for topics. Okay, I imagine we do not have an audience for this one. So I guess we'll just recap movie news. Because, I mean, this is a movie show, so you know what? Fuck it. Next couple of minutes, I'll just recap miscellaneous bits of movie news that have happened recently, just because. So, Kraven the Hunter, the newest film in Sony's failure of a Spider Man universe, is out, or is coming out, I should say, and it's getting trashed, alright. It's getting trashed in reviews. So much that Sony has announced that their Spider Man spin off universe is officially dead, and that Kraven the Hunter will be the final film. I mean, I kind of figured, given you can't really make a Spider Man cinematic universe without Spider Man. That, and I feel like out of the 6 movies in this universe, only the first Venom is like actually great, and the rest of them are just kind of whatever. Well, anyway. So, first off, Agent Venom was canceled by Sony. Oh yeah, I should probably say, yeah. Yeah, I should probably say as well. The death of the Sony Spider spin-off universe basically led to a lot of cancellations. So first off, Michael Keaton's Vulture traveled back to the MCU off screen, effectively making sure that Morbius 2 never happens. Spider-Woman has been officially canceled by Sony. It was originally supposed to be an animated film. Agent Venom has been officially canceled by Sony. Sinister Six has been officially canceled by Sony for the 10th time. El Muro has been officially canceled by Sony. It's currently unknown if any other projects will get canceled, though. Aaron Taylor Johnson says he wants to return as Kraven in a future Sinister Six film. You're shit out of luck, fucker. You're shit out of luck. Spider-Man 4 might reveal that the TVA brought the Vulture back to the Sacred Timeline. He was brought back just off screen. The Amazing Spider-Man 3 is not happening at Sony. Their story will end in the next 3 years, but no, you're not getting solo films from them. Yeah. Yeah, so basically the Sony Spider-Verse, or I guess I should be more specific, the Sony live-action Spider-Verse is not just dead, it is dead in the water. I am not surprised in the least. I am not surprised in the least. Ooh, and speaking of not surprised in the least, and I cannot spell to save my, well, still gave me the results I wanted. Okay. A live-action remake of Tangled is in the works at Disney. Michael Gracie of The Greatest Showman is in talks to direct. And I'm just not surprised. I'm just not. I'm not surprised, honestly. I'm not even angry at this point at Disney just remaking and rebooting everything. At this rate, I'm just numb. Like, I just know that Disney will just keep on remaking, rehashing, and rebooting these films under any possible circumstances, no matter what. It's just going to keep on happening. And honestly, I don't even know why we bat an eye at it at this point. Excuse me. I don't know why we even bat an eye at these Disney remakes at this point. Again, like, they're just going to keep making them. Like, eventually, yes. What happening? You were really late, Sylv. To give you a super short recap, I reviewed the Wes Anderson film Rushmore, not to be confused with Wes Craven, different person. Rushmore, I gave a 7 out of 10. It's not my favorite of Wes Anderson's films, but it's one I do enjoy. You know, it being an earlier film of his. Okay, moving on. I then reviewed Princess and the Frog. Again, not my favorite of Disney's animated films, but I did really enjoy it. Gave it an 8 out of 10. Sorry if I sound kind of snappy. You're really late. Wes Anderson is the brother of Anthony Anderson. No, he isn't. Anyway. What you just walked in on is me giving my honest opinion on Disney live action remakes. So, anyway. Well, I guess I'll explain why I'm mad. The mail strike, the post strike, that I honestly didn't even know was still happening. Yeah. I'm mad because my sister is still on her bullshit, and not gonna lie, I'm slowly starting to take back what I said about the vision impaired last night. I don't have much respect. It's been going on since November 15th. I know. Sorry if it sounds like I don't care. I'm just that fed up with everyone. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Also, I can't blame you. Thank you for at least understanding. Anyway, you're valid as fuck. Thank you. Anyway. Okay, normally I don't feel like repeating myself, but I'll read here. I'll read this for you. A live action remake of Tangled is in the works at Disney. Michael Gracie of The Greatest Showman is in talks to direct. Honestly, I'm not upset that Disney is remaking it in live action. I'm not angry. I'm not annoyed. I'm just numb. Also, Grumpy Truck told me about that. Well, that confirms either that he's seen the movie or that he's familiar with it, which, if that's the case, based. Anyway. He says they're going to make her black and bald. Shut up. Okay, but serious for a minute here. I'm not angry that they're remaking it. He always says that about remakes, though. Anyway, I'm not upset that they're remaking it. I'm not angry that they're remaking it. I'm not annoyed. I'm just numb to it. Because Disney is just remaking all of their movies in live action. Before long, they're going to remake movies that were already live action. But, like, it's the same. Oh, he said when The Little Mermaid was announced that Ariel will be black and woke and fall in love with Ursula. That's so stupid. Funny, but stupid. Anyway, it's time for... I swear he's either really cynical or just a troll. I say he's a really cynical troll. By the way, here's the funny image, which is foreshadowing for tomorrow night's review. Again, this instance of the funny image is foreshadowing tomorrow night. Back to my critique. So, but he's my cynical troll. That's true, and twoo, and cute, and poop. Anyway. Okay, but I'm not upset. I'm not annoyed. I'm not anything. I'm just numb because I just know Disney's going to keep on doing this. They're just going to keep on remaking, rebooting, rehashing all their animated films until eventually they get to the more recent stuff, which Tangled being 2010 and Moana being 2016, we're already there. We're already getting to the more recent films. I got at least 8 packages waiting in a warehouse because Canada Post decided going on strike. Close to Christmas is good. Kill me. I'm not going to touch that for one reason and one reason only. I don't want to accidentally say the wrong thing and then make it worse. So I'll just leave it at that. I do care. It's just I don't want to pick the wrong dialogue option. That happens far too often on this show. Nah, you can say it anyway. I don't care at this point. Okay. I've had worse happen. Although in a hilarious twist of fate, it's the mail situation over here is the complete polar opposite in that I went to take the trash out earlier, and in the trash can I saw 4 Amazon boxes, all of which were about yay big. 4. I feel bad for the person who delivers our mail, I swear to God. That person must fucking hate us. Oh, I should probably add, all 4 of those Amazon boxes were ours. Did your dad throw it there? No. All 4 of those Amazon boxes? No. I should clarify those boxes had already been emptied out. So whatever arrived in them is not in the trash as we speak. But I feel bad for our mail person, because oh my god, they must fucking hate us. And they must especially not know who the hell is for what. I don't know, based on what you say about your dad, I think he probably would. I mean, yeah. Back to what I was originally saying, though. But I'm just saying, like, at this point with Disney's live action remakes, it's not that I don't care. It's not that I love them. It's just I'm just numb. Like, I'm used to it. It's just the same song and dance. Exactly. Like, live action remakes are eh. Like, okay, sometimes they can be good. Sometimes. I love 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close, yeah. Oh, and by the way, when I say Disney, stay tuned, by the way. Not tomorrow, though. Tomorrow is already taken. So if you're thinking 101 Dalmatians tomorrow, has to wait. But anyway. I know. Okay, good. Just making sure you knew and did not forget within the last hour. Anyway, but at this point, I'm just numb. I'm just used to it. Like, I just know that Disney's going to keep on doing these remakes. Gas station mouse, yep. I just know that Disney's just going to keep on doing these remakes, and people are going to go on Twitter or Discord or YouTube or TikTok and go on about they ruined my childhood, or why is Disney doing this, or they made it woke, and they just keep going on and on. Disney will milk it to the end of time, each more unoriginal than exactly. And the thing is, as well, I want to get mad at the unoriginality, the lack of originality. But I can't get mad because the people working on these movies are perfectly innocent. Yeah, that's the big problem with all of them, unoriginal. Yeah. But the thing is, I want to get mad at them, but I can't. Because the people who do these movies are perfectly fine people. They're perfectly normal. They're just trying to do a good job. They're just trying to make a product to meet the quota. And they're just forced by Aladdin replacing the snake battle with a bird chase was a crime. Yeah. Stay tuned. Anyway. But, like, the people behind these movies are perfectly innocent. Like, the writers, the animators, the actors, they're not the ones to blame. Like, they're just paid to do this. And they're just forced. There's a Scott the Woz quote that I think sums it up perfectly. Scott the Woz a while back now, did a video about game stores. And he's talking about GameStop. Don't shoot me, I'm just the messenger. Not quite. Anyway, the Scott the Woz quote that fits is he's talking about GameStop. And when you go to GameStop, they always pester you about their power-up rewards program. Anyway, and he says in the video, a lot of GameStop employees are just perfectly normal people and they're forced by their bosses to do all this annoying stuff. Same thing here. The people behind these Disney remakes are just perfectly fine people just trying to do a good job. And the thing is, they're just forced by their corporate higher-ups, in this case Disney, to do these just unoriginal, uninspired remakes rather than anything else. In fact, I'd even think a sequel would be more inspired than this. I mean, if I have to pick one, I would take sequels over remakes. Because at least a sequel, talk about Nick Gurr. He's the nickest of Gurrs. Anyway. But the thing is, if I have to pick just one, sequels or remakes, I'll take sequels any day of the week. Because at least a sequel has a chance that the story is going to be a little different or completely different. A remake, more often than not, Alice in Wonderland 2010 is awkward because it's both a remake and a sequel. Exactly. Stay tuned, but for real. But see, and that does remind me. Alice in Wonderland I can get behind because it does something different. It's not just a straight copy-paste of the original. It's darker, it's weirder, which, yes, there is such a thing, but it's darker, it's grittier, but it does something different. Maleficent, even. Maleficent did something different by telling the same story from a different point of view. In this case, from Maleficent's point of view. I'm trying to think of what else. Jungle Book 2016. Yes, the 2016 Jungle Book did still follow the story, but it did something different. By the way, my stepsisters get excited every time they see something Sonic 3 related. That's very wholesome, and I really like that. You should go see it with your stepsisters. It's really wholesome. Now anyway, but also truthfully, I didn't think you were still here. But anyway, but those are the Disney remakes that I think work well because they do something different. Also, it has Johnny Depp and Crispin Glover fight each other. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory versus Epic Movie. Thought I'd add that. I have to go now. My planet needs me. Poochie died on his way back to his home planet. That was not what I was intending to do, but I think that might be funnier than what I was intending to do. No, seriously, I was going to throw this at the camera, but nah, I think me throwing it over my shoulder might have been funnier. Even if it was completely by accident. Poochie, you look like you have something to say, do you? Anyway, but for real, those remakes work because they do something different with the story. They're not just a straight copy-paste. The remakes that I take offense to are the ones like The Lion King 2019, Snow White 2025, now Tangled, Moana, so on and so forth. The ones where they just do the exact same thing, just in live action. Yes, I certainly do. I have to go now. My planet needs me. Snow Brown, yeah. But for real, like, those are the remakes that bother me the most. The ones that just do the exact same thing in live action. Like, that's kind of a waste of the story of Snow White is insane. But we'll save that for another time. We'll save that for another time. She's 14 in the Disney film. Yeah. Good old pedestal. Good old bicycle pedal. Yeah. That's creepy, am I right? Anyway. But we'll save that for another day. We'll save that for another day. Okay, but yeah, pedal to the metal. Yep. Okay, but for realsies. That's a Doug. Okay, but anyway. All right, but for real. I guess the moral of the story here. Oh yeah, I should probably also add. Disney is also remaking Lilo and Stitch. That's going to be out next year. I'm conflicted. Granted, I have not seen the original Lilo and Stitch, but I'm conflicted. On the one hand, I think what we've seen of the live action Lilo and Stitch looks promising. Not great, but promising. Like it could work. And I actually think Stitch translated pretty well into live action, or CGI. But this is Disney we're talking about. Modern Disney. What does it say? Talk about how the original story says Snow White has skin as white as snow, so naturally they choose a brown actress to play her. I would talk about that, but two things. One, you literally just described it for me. I'm not saying that to be rude, but I can't talk about it when you literally just described it. And two, I don't even know shit about the original story of Snow White. I'm that fucking clueless. And three, you'll get canceled. Exactly, my dear nigger. Anyway. Also, it's a mystery how... Actually, yeah, come to think of it, it's a mystery how I got canceled for shit that I didn't do compared to the shit that I've actually done. Like, yeah, let's cancel this person for shit that they did not do that we have no hard evidence for other than complete lies, rather than the blatant N-word usage. I'm not saying anyone should come after me, I'm just saying I think that's a little amusing. It's kind of funny how that worked out. Actually, it's absolutely hysterical how that worked out. What's this say? Can we talk about how any person who gets canceled likes to throw the cancel culture is toxic card? Well, again, you just talked about it for me, but I guess yeah, that just happens. Okay, like you know when you whip out the ukulele and you do the apology video? Yeah, the ukulele. Anyway. Man, be cool. Okay, but basically people who are obviously wrong try to gain sympathy. I know. I'm sorry I did this, but others did it. I had no idea at the time it was bad. Again, another Scott the Woz quote. I didn't know it was a slur. And if you don't believe me that that's an actual Scott the Woz quote, then you clearly don't know Scott the Woz well enough. I didn't know it was a crime scene. Yeah. Scott the Woz Chia Pet. Yep, the one where he breaks. Yeah. I was supposed to get robbed tomorrow. Yeah. Also, real talk, I've considered reviewing Scott the Woz on this show before, but the problem there is that Spider could care absolutely less about it, but I also don't want it to basically just be us two quoting Scott the Woz for an hour and not reviewing much of anything. You literally should. Well, I mean, your funeral. Anyway. Strong. I'd be game. Okay. I guess it'll happen eventually. When? I don't know, but sometime. I don't know. I will say, though, my funeral, yep. Okay, I will say, though, considering we've been talking about Power Rangers and Super Sentai a lot on it, I want to die anyway, so yes. Okay. Okay, so, because we've been talking about Power Rangers and Super Sentai a lot on this show lately, there are two topics I do want to cover in the future. Let me go grab one of them. So, like I said, we've been talking about Power Rangers and Super Sentai on this show a lot lately. So, there are two topics related that I do want to cover in the future. First, I've had the DVD of Zyuranger in my possession for about a year now, but only today did I finally decide to sit down and watch it. This Friday, Home Alone 3 and Home Alone 4 Taking Back the House. That's going to be... Okay, I had to check the calendar, but yeah, anyway. I forgot what day it was for a moment, but anyway. I have had this DVD for Zyuranger in my possession for about a year now. Only today did I finally sit down and watch, well, disc 1. I'm going to power through this series, to the best of my abilities at least. Expect a review, Zyuranger starring Kyle, whatever. Expect a review for this series sooner than later. When, I don't know, but soon. And then another one, this time Power Rangers topic, that I also plan to cover, Dino Buckla, yep. You're not getting a morph out of me tonight, but you did prompt this. Dino Nigla, yep, here are my things. Yeah, here are my doohickeys. Here they be. Here they be. Yeah. I want your power morpher, please. I'm not trying to sound rude or greedy, but yeah, one of these is discontinued and expensive. The other... Let me finish. One of these is discontinued and expensive. The other was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and given that it has the Jason David Frank Association, you really think I'm going to sell that? Adam's morph is honestly the best morph ever. I mean, agree. Now, watch me do this and then the coin fly out, because that's the thing that happens often with this one. Oh, God. God, it always throws me. Okay. Watch. When I do this, that coin is just going to go flying out of here. Not on purpose, but it will happen. Okay, it did not happen. Okay, it isn't turned on, but I got the point across. Alright. Okay, that is not supposed to happen. Let's play this again. Oh, now you're going to make me look like a liar. You saw that too. You heard that too, right? You heard that disfigured communicator beep too, right? Also, does it have the Mastodon coin? Yeah, this... Come on. Okay. shit. God damn it. Yeah, this is, of course, the Tyrannosaurus. Actually, I don't even know where my other coins... Son of a bitch. I don't even know where my other coins are. Fuck. Son of a bitch. Where are they? Okay, yeah, actually, it did just occur to me. I do not know where my other coins for this Morpher are, but rest assured, I do have them, and they were included. Also, yeah, I definitely got to change the batteries in this thing soon. Can we talk about how as bad as Once a Ranger is, it actually made a modern morph for Adam? I mean, we would talk about it, but I feel like we've already showcased that enough. Like, it did a great modern morph for our man Adam. Put the Master Morpher back over here. Adam did all his own stunts. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. I guess while I'm over here, I'll just put these back on the shelf where they go until the next time we talk. Johnny Young Bosch is I am never sure if I'm ever saying his last name correctly. I know that's probably correct, how I just said it, but I'm never sure. I'm never 100% positive if I'm even saying it correctly. Okay, now what I was trying to say. There is a Power Rangers topic that I do plan to cover on this show, but I am deliberately and intentionally saving it till next year. The topic in question is Power... Oh, Divatox is a terrible villain, but damn, those two... Oh, you're into pronouns, huh? Well, let me see them titties. Okay, anyway. There is a Power Rangers topic that I do want to cover on this show, but I am deliberately and intentionally saving it till next review Power Rangers 2017 Krispy Kreme. I'll do it eventually, but anyway, what I was trying to say, there is a Power Rangers topic that I do want to review on this show and that I will review, but I am deliberately and intentionally holding off and saving it till next year, 2025. Can you guess that topic? Operation Overdrive. Nope. SPD. I plan to cover SPD on this show, but I'm intentionally saving it till next year. No, it is not because of Burnout. It's because of the 20th anniversary. Yep, 2025. That too. I'm saving it till 2025, both because of the 20th anniversary of SPD and because we will finally be caught up to when the show chronologically and canonically takes place. You know, fun cutesy gimmick. Now, will you elaborate further? Well, depends. Will I? No, because I've said enough. But for now, that's all the time we have for tonight. But always remember, eat your cereal, go to bed, to be continued. God made you special and he loves you very much. If you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Good night, and